Hey guys, welcome back. Before I get into the tutorial, I just quickly wanted to go over the supplies that I'll be using and where they came from. So this first package is from Paper Mart. I will also leave a link down below for these exact items so you can purchase them a bit easier. To start, this is the Economy Polyester Tool. This is the 6" by 100-yard roll in emerald green. And then I got another one in lime green. For the ribbon, we'll be doing a 1.5" satin ribbon trim. This is in the color Dandelion. I'm pretty positive. Yeah, so I'll leave a link for this one also. And this again and this is a double-faced satin ribbon in Dandelion. For the crochet top, just because I don't think I've ever shown you guys, but see how much they stretch. I'm going to be doing a 4T, so this is 9 inches long, and I purchased these from a supplier called craftshack.com. I will leave a link down below to these tops as well. For the tulle, I'm doing 2 strips of tulle per hole on the bottom layer, and I'm doing the entire bottom layer in the lime green color. So I'm taking my strips, and there are 2 of them together, folding them in half and folding them in half again, twisting my folded end, and then doing the slip knot just like we do in all of them. And then I will just continue the lime green color all the way around the bottom layer. When I fold, I make sure that they are even at the ends, and that helps to cut down any trimming that you may want to do at the end. So that's one of the things that I make sure I do to have even strips, is to make them even when I fold them. And then above that, I'm going to do 1 strip of tulle per hole in the emerald green. I've added both of the layers of tulle, the lime green on the bottom and the emerald green on top. It really helps to give it a brighter green color. And before we do any of the designs on the top, I do want to make sure to sew on my ribbon because I don't want to mess up any of the design that we do on top. And we'll be using the 1.5" double satin faced ribbon in Dandelion for that. Now, to make our sewing job a bit easier, I am going to separate out the tulle in sections. When I'm separating out the sections, I am grabbing from both the top and the bottom layer. So get some rubber bands, and you just want to separate out a good chunk. Could be 8 or 10 rows. And again, I'm grabbing from both the top and the bottom layer. Take my rubber band and then just loosely tie that around. And then grab another section and rubber band that off until you've separated the entire dress. And this is just help keep it neater while we sew. Now all of my sections have been rubber banded, and we will head over to the sewing machine. Now I apologize in advance, I don't have a tripod. I'm actually filming off of an iPad, so I tried to get the best angle that I could. Right here I'm showing you that I'm leaving the ribbon on the spool. You do not want to cut the ribbon off because you want this to be a continuous strip of ribbon. So I'm taking the edge here and heat sealing that. To give you a closer look, I'm just showing you here that I have the wrong side of the ribbon facing up when I place that under my presser foot. Taking one of our sections at a time, you'll want to take off the rubber band, and we're going to be sewing the top layer, which is the emerald green layer. So right here you will see me flip over the dress so that it's upside down, and facing up you see that lime green layer. Okay, so I wanted to bring you guys in a little bit closer. Again, we're working with that emerald green layer, and you're going to work one knot at a time. So if you're looking at one of your slip knots, there are two sides to that strip of tulle. So there's a left and a right, top and a bottom, however you want to describe it. And you want to work with one of those strips at a time. Now the tulle curls because it was on the roll, and I want my curl to face up because that means the inside is the wrong side. So the wrong side is facing up, just like our ribbon. So I'm going to slip that under the presser foot as well, and I don't want it to go past the edge of the ribbon. I want to keep it on the inside so that it's not showing beyond the ribbon. You can sew at the bottom of the ribbon, at the top, in the middle. I generally like to be somewhere between the bottom and the middle. So I'm doing a straight stitch, also making sure to back stitch at the beginning and then back stitch at the end. And you're just going to feed through that first strip of tulle. Once you get towards the end of that strip of tulle, you're going to take the second half of that slip knot and add that under the presser foot as well, and just continue to sew. And I just make sure to keep my tulle ends straight while sewing across the ribbon. So I've reached the edge of that one. I'm going to the next slip knot, taking the side closest to the sewing machine. And slipping that under, and continue to sew across. When you're sewing, you do want to play around a little bit with some scratch tulle and scratch ribbon so that you can get your tension and your thread adjustments right. You don't want to sew to where it wrinkles the ribbon or it's tugging on it because you're using too tight of a tension. So every machine is different. You want to make sure to work with a piece of scrap ribbon first just to see what thread adjustments you would need to make. I just quickly wanted to show you I have sewn through that emerald green layer in the first of my rubber band sections, and I just want to show you really quick. To move on to the next one, you just take off the rubber band, separate out the top and bottom layer, and continue to sew through that emerald green layer. I've completely finished the top layer. Now I'm moving on to doing the ribbon trim on the bottom layer, which is the lime green layer. So I'm just showing you here the entire top layer is done. And it is going to look messy in the process, but I promise it is worth it. Just keep going. Don't judge until you've finished. Now to trim this bottom layer, if you remember, I did 2 strips of tulle per hole. So when I'm sewing either side of that slip knot, I'm grabbing both pieces of tulle at once. So when I'm taking the one side of the knot, as you can see here, I'm taking the one closest to the sewing machine, and there are 2 strips of tulle in this piece here. So I just want to make sure to keep those even. You're not going to sew through this twice. You're just going to keep them together as if it was one piece of tulle. And you're going to feed that through the sewing machine just as we did on the top layer. And you'll continue to sew all the way around that lime green layer. Now, if you're wondering how long this will take you, it is extremely time consuming. I haven't done very many since making them, but I absolutely love them. I'm obsessed. And I can finish ribbon trimming this dress in about 45 minutes or so. If it's a smaller dress, it takes a little less time. If it's bigger, it would take longer. But that's just to give you an idea that it is a time-consuming process. But just keep going, keep pushing through, and I promise it's worth it in the end. I've put the dress on the mannequin, and I'm showing you what it looks like without fluffing it at all. So it's a little bit out of place. The ribbon's all kind of wonky, so you do want to work with it. And you want to start with that bottom layer. Now you can manipulate the ribbon to do what you want it to do. So what I'm doing here is I just start with a piece of the ribbon, and I go along the entire length of that ribbon, and I fold as I go, so it makes these little ruffles. If you can see here, I'm just using my hands to make sure the ribbon is facing outward and it's not flipped up or twisted, and I'm also pulling the tulle down as I go. Ta-da! It's completely fluffed out now, and I just want to show you what the bottom looks like. Oh, I love it. It's just so cute and bouncy, and it gives it such a great shape. It also helps to maintain the shape of the dress, which I love. It prevents the tulle from bunching up like a normal tutu dress. You know what I'm talking about. So the ribbon helps to weigh it down, and I absolutely love it. For the design, I'm just using a yellow glitter foam sheet and a black one. I cut out somewhat of like an egg shape, and then I hand drew the R onto some construction paper, but please feel free to print out just the symbol online and trace that out. And then I cut out 2 long rectangle pieces of the yellow craft foam, as well as 2 matching pieces of yellow felt and a blue. To start, I'm going to take one of those yellow rectangle felt pieces, and I'm going to place that on the inside in the same spot that I want to glue down the yellow glitter craft piece on the outside. So I'm just adjusting and moving this around. And then before you glue anything down, make sure you take a look at what it will look like finished on the outside. So is this where I want it? Do I need to move it? Should I shift it a little? So I want to take my other pieces, which I've already glued together, the R and the black oval piece there. And I see that it's going to make it too high at the top, so I want to push this down before I glue anything to the top. Using my hot glue gun, I'm going to glue directly to the top and make sure to hit all those squares and get through to that piece of felt, and then just attach the yellow glitter piece on the outside. I'll do the same for the top rectangle. It's going to go directly above this one, and maybe about a 1/2 inch space in between them. So press down and then add your second strip right above that. Before adding the last piece, I want to add my straps, and I'm going to do a different style strap here. I'm taking the same yellow satin ribbon, and I've cut a really long piece and I folded it in half. And I want to keep it folded, you don't want to cut it. And then to do this strap, we're going to do a slip knot. And then I started to do this upside down. Shortly here I realized that I need to actually feed it through from the outside going up so that the ends come out the top and not the bottom. So I'm sticking this through like the second row of holes, and that's the folded end. So I'm just opening up that hole there and pulling the straps through and gently tugging gently to make that little knot. And then pulling that to the back, I'm going to cut my ends on an angle and heat seal. To make the adjustable straps, I'm just taking each side and I'm pulling it through a hole from the inside coming out. And you do want to make sure to pull these through the same row of holes. And then you're just going to tie it in a pretty bow in the back. Now you can also tie these around the neck like a halter top if you prefer, but I just love the look of the adjustable straps with the bow in the back. And last but not least, we can add the robin symbol. So I'm just tucking in here the plain black piece of felt that matches the oval shape of the glitter piece. Just gonna see where I want to put that. And then glue this down just like you did with the rectangles. And that is it. Another extra little thing you could add would be a matching yellow bow to the side of the dress, but I felt it might have been too much since there's a lot of ribbon on the bottom, so I haven't quite decided, but please feel free. I hope this tutorial was helpful in showing you how to do a ribbon trim. I will very soon do one on how to do a tutu skirt as well. If you have any requests, please leave a comment below, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out. Thanks for watching.